I have had one hell of a year, Miranda. For those of you that are new here, let's just start this off from the beginning. I have not edited a podcast episode in months, possibly. I don't know if that intro is ever coming back. Let me tell you who I am quickly. My name is Natalie Hughes. I'm a life mindset and manifestation coach in my business and on my platform. I support women in creating emotionally fulfilled, purpose driven lives for themselves. This month, we are launching the I Can and I Should course. It's my program that is made to help you boost your self esteem. What is your self esteem? Self esteem is defined by what we believe that we can achieve. So, the goal for the perfect tenant in your rental property, the goal for your next home that you're ready to buy, the goal for the higher level position, the next client that you're ready to sign, achieving any goal that you have in your life is going to be much easier. It's going to happen much more quickly, and it's going to be much more enjoyable if you actually approach your goal with the belief that you can achieve it. And that's what life is like when you have self esteem. When you have self esteem, you believe that you can achieve. And that's why the title of the course is I Can and Should. In other words, I can achieve this goal, I should achieve this goal, and naturally, I do achieve the goal, right? So now that we've got that intro out of the way, I've got to tell you, girlfriend, I also refer to my audience members, the listeners of this podcast, as Miranda. That's your name. Very comparable to Miranda from Sex and the City. You're obviously not exactly like Miranda from Sex and the City, but it was the perfect one, and we don't have time to talk about anymore why I call you Miranda. I just call you Miranda, okay? I say Miranda, you say yes, okay? Call and response thing. So I have had one hell of a year, okay? Last week, I felt like 2024 was the worst year of my life. No, I'm just kidding. I have had many, many years that were far worse than this one. But last week, I was really at the height of my PMS. You know what I'm saying? Right before the period is coming, right in the thick of my period. Like, it was just, those times when, like the other day, I went to the kitchen. I took a shower and then I went into the kitchen, and then I don't fucking know why, but I needed to wash a dish right after I had taken a shower. So I took a shower and I go into the kitchen to wash a dish, and then the water is like splashing on me. So I'm fresh out of the shower, and now the water from the sink and the dirty dishes has splashed on me, and my life felt like it had been ruined. My life felt like it was over. Um, I felt the most angry that I've ever felt in my life because the water from the kitchen sink splashed on me. And that's just the perfect example of what's been going on for me emotionally with this most recent period that I'm going through. So I felt like 2024 had been the worst year of my life. Now, today, as my period is coming to an end, I'm feeling really, really good. Not just because of my period, but because of where I am in my life. And that's actually what we're talking about in today's episode. So before we get there, I have to tell you about my 2024. My 2024 was a year of me looking at my abandonment wounds. I worked in 2023 on my relationship with money. Obviously, I'm still working on my relationship with money. Your relationship with money isn't necessarily reflected in your bank account it's a relationship. It requires maintenance. It's not something that you do one time or for 1 year or for 1 month and then you walk away from it forever. You're always working on that relationship, right? You're always going deeper in that relationship, gaining deeper intimacy, gaining more trust. So I really did a lot of that foundational work for my relationship with money in 2023. And then in 2024, it was like, oh, my relationship with money and my success in my business, a lot of this is tied to my abandonment wounds. Abandonment wounds with human beings. So my sales or lack thereof in my business, it's not just tied to my relationship with money. It's not just tied to the way that I value my work. It's not just tied to my own doubts. It's tied to my abandonment wounds and the fact that I had been walking around feeling like I was an enemy to the world, feeling like the world was not on my side. So I don't know if you've ever been in business for yourself, but selling something to someone who you assume hates you, doesn't like you, doesn't want anything to do with you, is going to backstab you, is going to betray you, selling something, trying to receive money that's going to take care of you, trying to receive care from someone that you perceive as a threat is a very difficult thing to do. It's nearly impossible. So there was a lot of struggle in my business. There was a lot of struggle in my finances. And that's been a lot of my experience over the past 5 years, right? Moving through that struggle, the financial struggle, the business struggle, the struggle with my clients, the struggle with my self-confidence, just moving through all of the fucking struggles, right? So this year has been a lot for me. I started off the year anxious as fuck, like panic attack levels of anxious, and I just kept fucking going. And when I say kept going, I don't mean I ignored my anxiety. I mean, I did the work that I know how to do. In the year 2024, I went deeper in this shit, and I promise we are getting to a point here, but I gotta give you the backstory. In the year 2024, I went deeper in this shit than I had ever gone before. Or a better way to say this, it's like I expanded it, right? Because 5 years ago, when I started my business in 2019, or it was 2020, I started the business in 2019, but the experience that I'm recalling is 2020. I'm sitting in my car. So this is like 4 years ago. I am practicing allowing myself to cry. 4 years ago, I was communicating to myself that it's okay to cry and it's okay to have feelings and it's okay to have emotions. 4 years ago, I was working with the emotional guidance scale for the first time, learning how to identify how I felt. 4 years ago, I was remembering certain traumatic experiences that I had in my childhood and beginning to cry about those things for the first time, really understanding the, I want to say, injustices, the harm, the neglect, the abuse that I experienced in my childhood. That was 4 years ago. So when I say that I've gone deeper this year than ever before, I mean that I could not even see the extent of the damage 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, I was going deep. And over the past 5 years, I've just, obviously continued to go deep on every fucking thing because I want happiness and fulfillment in every aspect of life. So I'm going deep on my relationship wounds and traumas, and I'm going deep with money wounds and traumas, and I'm going deep with, business wounds and traumas and friendship wounds and traumas, So there's been depth. There's always been depth. But I just did not. I didn't know. I didn't know how deep those abandonment wounds went. And I did not understand the extent that they impacted me in business. I was afraid to show up in business with confidence. I wasn't at a place where I could set a goal for, like, I'm going to get 30 sales this month, or I'm going to get 100 sales, or I'm going to get a sale today, or whatever. I wasn't at a place where I could set goals for myself in my business because I couldn't trust human beings to show up for me. Manifestation is a game of relationships. It's about your relationship with God, the universe, and it's about your relationship with humanity, because the cooperative components must show up. The cooperative components must show up, and the cooperative components is probably going to be a human being, right? A cooperative component is anything that's going to support the manifestation of your desires. So, in your manifestation process, when you're manifesting more money, when you're manifesting more sales, when you're manifesting more recognition, when you're manifesting whatever, the cooperative components must show up. 9 times out of 10, that cooperative component is going to be another human being. So if I'm manifesting so much success in my business, I didn't just want money, I wanted success in my business. I wanted sales. I wanted women coming into my world, getting amazing results from my work. And there were so many things that were between me and that experience that I didn't really understand. I didn't understand that my beliefs and my fears about other human beings, my assumptions that women aren't committed to healing, my assumptions that women don't care to invest in themselves, my beliefs that people can't afford what I have to offer. All of these things are beliefs that don't align with the experience of me creating so much success and wealth and abundance for myself. So when you've been abandoned and you've been backstabbed by human beings, family, friends, coworkers, strangers, like, what group of human beings has not deeply betrayed me? When you have that experience and you haven't shifted through that and you haven't moved through that, that really impacts your self-esteem. And these are the things that you don't think about. You don't think about the fact that the reason why you haven't gotten the promotion in your job might not have to do with your work ethic, but it might have to do with the fact that you think that people think less of you because you're a Black woman. You think that people don't want to pay you fairly because you're a Black woman. You're afraid to stand up for yourself, and you're afraid to set boundaries, and you're afraid to assert yourself in a meeting because you think that if you do, somebody else is going to perceive you in a way that doesn't support you, and then they're going to sabotage you. They're going to sabotage your career. And so instead of sharing your gifts with the world, instead of sharing your beautiful ideas, instead of sharing the inspirations that God has put inside of you for you to bring forth, because you are a leader in your industry, you are a leader in that company, instead of doing what you've been called to do, you're holding yourself back. These are the things that we don't think about. So there's a lot of factors that are contributing to our self-esteem. There's a lot of factors that are contributing to the things that we do or do not manifest. In today's episode, I'm talking about what it feels like to be on the other side, which I kind of feel like that was a little bit of a long intro for what we're actually talking about today, but fuck it, we're here. What am I going to do now? I'm at a place where the manifestation of my goals feels realistic, obvious, and that's all that I got. The manifestation of my goals feels realistic and obvious. That's self-esteem. Self-esteem is defined by what I believe I am capable of. So when I have high self-esteem, when I have healthy self-esteem, I think about my goals and I think this is obvious. When I have high, healthy self-esteem, I think about my goal and I think to myself, this is obvious. This is obvious that women are buying my offers. This is obvious that I am selling to dozens and hundreds and thousands of women all across the world. This is obvious that I am a leader to women who are leading in their homes, who are leading in their communities, who are leading in their organizations, who are leading in their businesses, who are leading in their industries, who are leading in their communities. It is obvious that I am a leader to leaders. Years ago, I heard Amanda Francis talk about this concept in a video where she said she did the mindset work. She tells the new story until she knows that it's hers. And it's not that she tells the new story and then she knows that it's hers and then she stops telling the new story, but it's like she's really going in, clearing space and deliberately telling that new story every single day, moment to moment, every single day, until she knows that it's hers, until it's obvious that it's hers. And I understand that now more than I ever have before. It feels like I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. I'm at a place where what's going on in my physical reality does not matter. I have created an internal conviction, a mindset, an experience where I lead my own mind. And I have created belief systems about who I am, about who the women of the world are, about what money is to me, what money wants to be to me, what my role is, my identity is as a woman who leads other women, a Black woman who leads other Black women, a Black person who leads Black people. It's really fucking intersectional, isn't it? Because you're not just a leader of one person. So when I think about my goals, when I think about my money, when I think about my finances, I'll give you a concrete example. Earlier today, I contemplated creating an offer. There's something that needed to be paid, and I was just thinking to myself, I can create a little offer like this. I can throw some questions together. We can do a workshop. I can, sell this for like $25, and if I get blah, blah, blah sales, then I can just, handle this thing really quickly and really easily. And then I thought to myself, like, whoa, that felt really out of alignment. That idea, that way of being felt really out of alignment. It was like that way of being, that response to a financial need to create a quick, easy, and inexpensive offer, that was like muscle memory. It was something that a year ago or whatever, I would have sprung into action and I would have done that, not just a year ago, but very like a million fucking times over the past several years. I would have responded in that way, but it felt off to me. And I just realized, like, no, I can't respond in that way. I can't behave in that way. I can't show up in that way. Because number one, the woman that I want to work with is not the woman who's buying something for $25. There's a greater expectation that I have for the women who come into my world. So let's talk about this really quick. 2.5. When I create something, the energy that I am approaching selling with matters. It's important. When I jumped into that energy, into that experience, into that path of action of I'm going to create something that's cheap and easy, I was not moving in alignment with the version of myself who is creating and living and experiencing wealth. The way that I think about women is different now. The way that I think about money is different now. The way that I think about sales is different now. And I did some journaling around it, and I came into awareness of this fact that I was operating from a place where it was that old story that I don't want to ask for too much money. I don't want to ask people for too much money. I'm going to create something that's inexpensive because I don't want to ask people for too much money. If I ask them for too much money, they're going to say that they can't afford it. Then I won't make a sale. Then I won't have money. Then I won't get my needs met, right? And that makes sense. That's logical in a way, in one level of thinking. But I don't think that way anymore. I don't do business in that way anymore. I don't live in that way anymore. Why? Because my priorities are different. And we talked about this in a different podcast episode. I think more like a CEO now. I think more like a woman who makes enough money to take care of herself now. I think more like a woman who has created a business that is important and that is significant. So what happens when I create cheap offers? What happens when I create cheap coaching packages? I do work, I show up, I pour my heart and my soul into it because that's who I am, and I was always going to do that. And the women that I work with at that price point don't value it worth a damn. They don't show up. They don't do the work. I had a call with a woman a couple of weeks ago, which was kind of a favor, but it also paid for a specific bill that I had. So it worked at the time. It was just one of those right place, right times. Usually I wouldn't do this. Usually I wouldn't take on a client for this, right? This is not something that I'm offering through my business. This is somebody coming to me asking me for a service that's really not super related to business, right? Well, like it is related to business because it's obviously the work that I do, but it was not something that came through my business. It was like a friend of a friend, you know what I'm saying? So I work with this woman, I get on a call with this woman, and she has this idea, which is really $1 million idea. And it's obviously an idea that can be incredibly profitable. But I get on a call with this woman and she's talking about all of the reasons why it can't happen. She hasn't done any actual research on how to put it together. She has to go to school for the thing, but she's saying she can't go to school for the thing because of this to do with her work schedule and this and this and this and this and this. And it's 1,000,001 different excuses, and there's 1,000,001 reasons why she just can't do it. And she has put the things that she needs to move this business forward on the back burner. And so we get inside of the session, and I'm, giving all of the information and wisdom and insight that I do. And there are all of these different resources for her. And I have this thing, it's called the free resource library. There's over 12 workbooks, meditations, EFT scripts, all of that good shit inside of it, right? So I have this thing, it's called the free resource library. So I'm like giving her this, I'm telling her, okay, you can go here and you can get this resource and like all of this shit, right? You can be ready to go. But this woman is still in her own fucking way. We get off the call. She doesn't get the thing from the free resource library. She just doesn't show up. She doesn't go all in. And this is something that I've talked about many, many times. This is an experience that I have attracted many, many times in my business of women who just are not all in, women who are not leaders, women who are not ready to lead. And that's not the kind of woman that I want to work with ever. And when you don't charge enough money, you don't attract the right people. You want somebody who's going to show up and enroll in your program and treat that program like it's the fucking creme de la creme of online personal development courses. You want somebody to treat your shit like it's incredibly fucking valuable, then you need to charge a price that is indicative of the value that you believe that that course has, period, point blank. So the days of lowballing yourself are over. A couple of weeks ago changed my prices to $300, and then I changed my prices back, and then I moved around some different things. So my different offers are, just different prices based on how I feel right now. Right now, the I Can and I Should course is $800. I think that that's the cheapest one that I have available right now, but you'd have to go to my website and check. But it's like, the way that I make choices and decisions now is different. It can't be the same. And so I have this idea to create this cheap ass $25 offer. And then I go, ooh, I can't do that. I literally physically can't fucking do that, because if I create a $25 offer, you buy an offer from me for $25, you're going to treat it like it's worth 25 fucking dollars, and it's not. It's worth millions and billions of fucking dollars, because every single thing that I create is a renewable resource. I need to work with women who every single time we get together, every single time we meet in a session, that is 1 hour of time that is a renewable resource. And you watch that video again and again and again, whether you're watching it for the practical tools or the mindset shifts or whatever it is that I have said, and it will continuously pour into you. I found a reading that I had done over 5 years ago for a woman named Natalie, and it some way somehow got saved onto my Apple Music folder, what the fuck ever. So I'm like swiping through Apple Music, and the thing called Natalie comes on, and I usually skip it because I hear the sound of my voice and I'm like, no thank you, which we don't have time to talk about, but I just, I don't need to hear this right now. So I usually skip it, but at that time, I'm like, I need to hear this. I want to hear this. There's something in here for me. And so I'm doing this reading for this woman 5+ years ago. This is when I first started my business, when it was still a business through Etsy. I had not yet left college. I am in New York City doing this reading for this woman, and I was on like a break or something, but I was still in school doing this reading for this woman. And as a part of the reading, I said, they're telling me this, I'm getting this very strongly, there's no mistakes. Even when it looks like there's a mistake, there's no mistake. Everything is going according to plan. And I'll be damned if Natalie in 2018 was not speaking to Natalie in 2024, a completely different fucking Natalie who was focusing on a completely different fucking business venture. I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that. And that was a reading that I did at the very beginning of my journey, when I'm just becoming aware of my psychic gifts. So if a reading, if a video, if support from me can still be supportive 5 years down the fucking line. You got to price your shit like the things that you say are still going to be valuable 5 years down the fucking line. You can't afford to price things at a $25 price point, because I hate working with people who buy cheap shit. I hate it. I hate it so much, and I'm tired of pretending like I don't. And I don't actually pretend like I don't, I just don't talk about it enough. I hate people who buy cheap shit. So I have to stop selling cheap shit because I can't stand working with people who buy cheap shit. You want to work with me? Then you're a woman who wants to invest in herself. And right now, investing in me, investing in my courses is going to be a couple $100. And right now, investing in me and investing in working with me one-on-one is going to be a couple tens of thousands of dollars. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Like, that's where I am in my life. That's where I am with the way that I value myself. So I understand that the price is not just about the price. Yes, in business, you're going to be able to receive whatever you're willing to receive. And there's so many things that go into that. So I'm thinking to myself about expanding my prices and going, okay, I can't do this cheap ass $25 offer because nothing that I do is cheap. Everything that I do is life-changing. There are people who are inside of all of my programs. I haven't launched a new program at a higher rate. So there are people who have gotten inside of every single one of my programs. They paid $7 for it. They paid $25 for it. I have mixed emotions about it, but it really is what it is. But those people who paid the cheap ass price for it, they don't fucking use it. They don't log on to it. They don't go through it. And that's fine. They can do whatever they want to do in their life, but it infuriates me because there's value in my work. So what's the solution? The solution is that you have to charge more. Our anger, our emotions, period, are communicating to us. Anger is communicating to me when a boundary of mine is being crossed. So when I'm charging too little and I get angry because somebody is misusing the resources that I have poured over 5 years of time, energy, and effort into being able to deliver to them in the beautiful fucking packages that I do, that goddamn free resource library, that's a free motherfucking course. I'm giving you, it took me, when was I doing this? In 2020? We're in 2024? It took me years to figure out how to identify a limiting belief. It took me years to start allowing myself to feel my feelings and to feel my emotions. There is an incredible amount of value in my free resources, right? So if people are getting the shit that I'm giving to them and I don't like the way that they're using it, and I'm getting angry because of the way that they're using it, or I'm getting angry because of the people that I am attracting into my life, that emotion is communicating something to me. A boundary of mine is being crossed. What is my boundary? Oh, my boundary is that I need to charge money that is a reflection of the value that I have to give. The boundary is that there is a part of me who knows that my work is the shit, who knows that if you show up and you work the energy of my motherfucking courses, your life will change. It will never be the same. Over the past several months, I have so many different courses and things like that I'm in, but of all of the courses that I'm in that I have purchased myself, the courses that I am going through over the past several months, it's my own fucking courses. It's my own fucking work. When I am moving through a program, we're moving through a launch, I'm going through that program myself. I spent the beginning of the year going through the Receiver's Motherfucking Mindset course, which 10 out of 10 would recommend. That's the course. That's $1,700. That should be a million billion fucking dollars. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I did that. And then I went through Love After Loss, completely changed my relationship with men, changed my relationship with my soulmate, changed my relationship with my self-trust. And now I'm going through the I can and I I should course, and it's changing my relationship with my self-esteem. I'm remembering things that I already shifted. I'm going deeper with these concepts. It's like my work is incredibly fucking valuable. These are things that I know. These are things that I don't need somebody else to validate. These are things that are just true because they're fucking true, and it's the way that I live. So I'm having this completely different experience. And so I'm thinking about, okay, we cannot do a cheap ass offer. We're going to do this offer that we have. Why don't you want to focus on this offer? I do a little bit of cleaning up the inner child stuff that was coming up around not wanting to ask for more money. And then I realize and I recognize that, okay, you're doing everybody a disservice by charging less. You're doing yourself a disservice by charging less. You're doing your community a disservice by charging less. How many Black women in the world are walking around saving this motherfucking planet? How many social justice movements? How many? Raise your hand, like this video, rate this podcast 5 stars if a Black woman saved your motherfucking life at least one time. Like this video, rate this podcast, send me a goddamn email, DM me on Instagram if without a Black woman, you would not be nearly as successful, nearly as loved, nearly as confident, nearly as what the fuck ever as you are today. Black women are the backbone of the motherfucking world, and I really don't give a shit who agrees or who doesn't agree. That's my belief and that's my experience. And in that same breath, I also have to mention those Black women that you know who have backed all of the movements, who have done all of the amazing, wonderful things, who have poured life into everyone else. How many of those same Black women are being taken care of? How many of those same Black women are making the money that they need to fucking make? Are making the money to be safe and secure in the world? Are making the money so that they are actually poured into, are making the money so that they are actually being replenished? How many Black women are being replenished by the labor that they're giving out into the fucking world? And as I sat there, as I sat here in this chair, doing this work to myself, I said, oh, bitch, we're done. You'll never get another $25 offer out of me for as long as I motherfucking live. Why? Because I'm a leader to leaders. I'm a leader of Black women. I'm not just a leader of Black women. I am a leader of the self-worth motherfucking revolution. I am a leader of a self-worth movement. What the fuck do I look like being a Black woman who's doing work that's changing the motherfucking world? You'd have to be out of your mind, or this is the best phrase that I have, you'd have to be stuck on stupid to ever allow yourself to believe or perceive that my work isn't incredibly fucking valuable. You'd have to be one of the dumbest motherfuckers on planet Earth to hold that perception, right? Right. And I think that we all know this. You spend a podcast episode in my energy. You spend a moment, you spend a time, you spend an hour doing the journal prompts that I give you in my podcast episodes. You get into the free resource library and download those workbooks. And you spend your time doing those workbooks. You treat that free resource library like it's a course that you paid tens of thousands of motherfucking dollars for, and your life will be completely fucking changed. Every single thing in there is strategic. You aren't going to be taught why it's in there or how it's really powerfully serving you, but it is powerfully serving you in your energy and all that stuff, and you learn the why and all that good stuff inside of the courses. But that's not the point. The point is, when you look at me, you don't see another Black woman who is changing the motherfucking world and not receiving what she deserves. That's not my legacy. That's not who I am. That's not the example that I'm setting. That's not what I'm creating. So I'm having 1,000,001 different shifts as I'm moving through this, and I'm realizing, okay, the way that we do things is different. Our relationship with money is different. Our relationship with receiving money is different. Our relationship with demanding our worth is different. Our relationship with our value is different. And the point of today's podcast episode is that I've gotten to a point in my life, I've gotten to a point on my journey where it's just painfully obvious to me the inevitability of my own success. It's just painfully obvious to me the inevitability of my growing and expanding wealth. It's just painfully obvious to me the inevitability of my manifestations. So you get to a point on your journey where getting what you want becomes obvious. And that's what you're learning how to do inside of the I Can and I Should course. It's a course about leading your mind, where you're not negatively influenced by your fear that people can't afford to pay you. You're not negatively influenced by your fear that someone's going to perceive you in a negative light. You're not negatively influenced by your fear that if you don't do this one thing that you're tired of doing, then you won't be able to meet your financial goals. You're not negatively influenced by your insecurities that say you've never made that much amount of money before. How can you make that amount of money? You get to a point where you become sure that your goal is yours, regardless of what shit looks like in your physical reality. And you get to that point by persisting and doing the work. You get to that point by persisting and doing the work. At the beginning of the year, no, I don't even want to say at the beginning of the year. Last year, around this time last year, I was feeling more optimistic, still really terrified, still really questioning, still really doubting, still really wondering if things are going to happen or when things are going to happen. Are things happening right now? Are things going to happen in the future? 5 years ago, when I started this business, I was terrified that it was going to fail. 4 years ago, I was terrified that my car was going to get repoed. I was terrified that I wouldn't be able to pay my bills. I was not thinking about my vision for the future. I was not thinking about the purpose of my business. I was not perceiving myself as a leader to leaders. And the way that I look at it is best shown through this analogy, this concept of being a woman who has a boat. And I've got the goal, I've got the desire, the want, the need, the destiny to end up on the other side of the world using this boat. And the boat that I have is old and rickety and there's holes in it. And when I go to make money, I am just receiving enough money so that I can patch up this hole. But then there's another hole that sprouts, that what the fuck ever. There's another hole, okay? It appears magically, doesn't fucking matter. There's another goddamn hole in the boat. So then I make enough money and then I patch that hole. And then there's another hole in the boat naturally. And so I've lived my life in this cycle of constantly putting out the next fire. Can you relate to that, Miranda? Living a life of constantly putting out the next fire. We're going to pay this bill. We're going to pay this debt. We're going to do this thing. We're going to fix this. Okay, we're going to get this sale. Okay, we're going to make this amount of money. Okay, we're going to put this offer out. Okay, I'm going to try this kind of marketing. Okay, I'm going to do this. Constantly focused on the emergency that needs to be taken care of right now. But things have changed radically for me, where I'm no longer focusing on the holes inside of this boat. I need a brand new boat completely. I need a yacht. So the choices and decisions that I'm making are not based on how can I plug up the hole in this boat. The choices and decisions that I'm making are about how can I buy this yacht? How can I completely upgrade my circumstance, be in a completely different position so that I'm not worried about holes in the blah, 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 and I'm not worried about all of it. Like, all of this gets to go away. So my perception has changed. My priorities have changed. The way that I think about the world has changed. The way that I think about money and business has changed, where there's a bigger picture that's always at play in my mind. There's a greater vision that's always at play in my mind, where I'm going, what I'm creating, what I'm doing, who I am. My identity has changed. I'm no longer the woman who's trying to get all the way across the world. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it on this boat. I don't know. There's a hole that I need to get. I hope that this is going to stay. Okay, that stayed. And now there's another hole. That's no longer who I am. I am the woman who is destined to have a yacht. And I am the woman who is destined to make it all the way across to the other side of the world. That is who I am. I'm not just the woman who's destined for it. I'm the woman who does it. It's not a pipe dream. It's not something that's far off. It's who I am. I'm not the woman who wants to be a leader. I am a leader. I'm a leader of my lineage. I'm a leader of my home. I'm a leader in my industry. When I'm doing something different, when I'm doing things in a way that they've never done before, because a lot of the business advice in the world doesn't work for me, I'm not going to post on social media every single fucking day for you people. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to post every single day on social media to convince you to buy some shit from me. I'm going to put out quality shit. If it's a 10-minute podcast episode, or if it's an hour-long podcast episode or a 2-hour-long podcast episode, I'm going to share my heart. I'm going to dedicate myself. I'm going to make an amazing website. I'm going to write the best fucking copy that I can write with the time, energy, and effort that I have at my disposal, with the marketing things that I understand. I'm going to do my best to convey to you that what I have to offer is the best offer for you. I'm going to trust that the people that the offer is for is going to come. They're going to come. They're going to buy it. They're going to purchase. It's already done. It's already underway. It is who I am. It is who they are. But I'm not going to take action and do all of these things just because somebody else who was already successful has told me that I need to do those things. I'm going to trust myself. And if I'm going to trust myself and the way that I feel to move in business, and the way that I feel to show up as a business owner, the way that I feel to show up as a leader is pretty different from what other people are telling me, from what other people are communicating to me. My previous mindset was, oh my God, is this going to work? Can I do this? I can't do this. I can't succeed because I'm not posting every single day. I can't succeed because I haven't done research on this hashtag. I can't succeed because I haven't done this and I haven't done this and I haven't engaged with other people on Instagram, and I've got all these people on TikTok and I'm not doing anything with this audience. And if anybody else was coming into my world and they were looking at my business and they were looking at my social media platforms, they'd be telling me to do this and this and this and this and this, right? I can get into the minds of the business mentors and all of these other people that have supported me, right? That I've worked with, that I have been supported by. And it's like, I know what they would do. I know what they would tell me. I know how they would tell me to show up, but that's not my way. That doesn't work for me. That's not my way. That doesn't work for me. So previously, I spent the past several years feeling like I'm broken, feeling like I can't succeed, feeling like there's something wrong with me that makes me sabotage myself because I'm not doing the things the way that other people want to do them. But the woman that I am today Instead of thinking like the woman with the rickety ass boat, thinking like a woman with a raft, I'm thinking like a woman with a yacht. I'm thinking like a woman with a yacht. And the way that the woman with the yacht thinks is, first of all, God didn't make a mistake when he made me. I'm not broken. So if I feel in my heart and in my soul that this is not for me, that course of action is not for me, that way of being is not for me, that walking down that path is not for me, then God damn it, that's not my path. And nobody is going to make that my path. And there are no dire consequences in the world because that's not my path. When God made me, he didn't make a mistake. When God made me, he did not fuck it up. So if there's something inside of me, in my heart and in my soul, that is telling me to take this route, to take this action, to show up in this way, to serve in this way, to give in this way, to focus on this platform, I'm going to follow my internal compass. God did not make a mistake when he made me. I am a leader. I make choices and decisions in my life based on the mother that I want my children to have, the grandmother and the great-grandmother that I want my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren to have. I make choices and decisions based on my legacy in my family line, my legacy in the world, my legacy in business. I make choices and decisions based on the example that I want to set to women in my community. I am a leader to leaders. The way that I think, the way that I show up, the way that I see myself, the way that I talk to myself about my goals, the way that I talk to myself about my success. You have no choice but to believe it's fucking inevitable for you. I have no choice but to believe it's fucking inevitable for me. Of course, the sales and the abundance and the bills being paid and the savings goals being met and the homes or apartments being moved into and the cars being bought, of course that's mine. Of course that's inevitable. Of course that's my destiny. That's who I am. Like, duh. That's what today's episode is about. I want you to live a life where meeting your goals is, of course I'm fucking doing this. Duh. What the fuck do you mean? You have two options, which you have infinite options, obviously, but we're going to narrow it down to two to save ourselves some fucking time. And for the sake of my argument, you have two options. You can be the woman who's going, oh, I wish I could make that much money. I want to make that much money. I want to start that business. I want to get 10 more clients. I want to get 10 more sales, but I don't know if I can. I don't know if it's possible for me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it happen. People can't afford it. I don't know how I'm going to find the people. I don't know if the people in this company like me. I said that one thing and my boss looked at me a little bit weird and I don't think that she likes me, and that other, the only other black woman in the office is a total fucking complete bitch to me and everybody fucking likes her, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get a raise or a promotion in this company, but there is something that is calling me into the C-suite of this company. There is something that is calling me. I want to be one of the greatest real estate agents in this county. I want to be the real estate agent that is putting families in their forever homes. I want to be the real estate agent that is putting landlords with integrity, landlords who care about their tenants, landlords who care about the neighborhood, landlords who care about the community. I want to be the real estate agent that is matching the perfect landlords with the perfect communities, that is supporting them, whether it's consequently or directly, in getting the perfect tenants into those homes, growing and expanding my community, boosting the local, state, government, world economy because of the choices and decisions that I'm making as a real estate agent. It's bigger. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everything is bigger. There's a greater purpose. You didn't fall out of a coconut tree. You exist within the context of all that came before you and everything that is. I don't know the entire quote from Kamala, so fuck it if that wasn't, the right thing. But you understand what I'm saying? There's a bigger plan at play. There is a bigger plan that we've got to look at, that we've got to focus on. So when you're focused on the bigger fucking plan, and you're focused on your identity in that plan, this is who I am. It's not a question of whether or not I'm going to be able to sell this house or whether or not I'm going to be able to get a new client. Obviously, my next client is already on her way. Why is it obvious that my next client is already on her way? It's obvious that my next client is already on her way because I am a Black woman who is leading Black women. I am a Black woman who is leading Black people, the Black community, financially. I don't remember what it was. That I just read, okay? So I'm not 110% sure on the facts here. But I read something that said, I don't know if it was the median household income. I don't know if it was, oh my God. I want to say, I don't think it was the median though. I don't know if it was the average. I don't know if it was the majority. I'm going to go with the majority here, okay? I recently read something that was like a majority of Black Americans are making less than $60,000 every single fucking year. And like, that's insane. That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. My next real estate client is already on the way to me. My next 10 real estate clients are already on the way to me because my success is bigger than me. Because I am a leader of Black women everywhere. We are worthy of more. We are deserving of more. We were created to experience more. It is my duty. It is my responsibility. It is my identity to support my community, to support my economy. When I make money, the economy thrives. When I make money, the economy thrives, okay? I'm not a finance bro or sis or what the fuck ever. So I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that when I make money and when I spend money, the economy does good things, right? Like I'm pretty sure like that's what economy is. That's what economics is. I think. Like, gun to my head, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty fucking sure. When I make money in my business, the economy thrives. I am the woman that supports her economy. When there are times when things are really shitty in the world and there's so much fear and blah, 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 I am the woman who is still sure. And the woman who is still sure, and the woman who is still making money, and the woman who is still spending money is the woman who is still keeping the economy afloat, even in the not recession. That's the woman who's still making things move. It's bigger than my next sale. It's bigger than my savings goal. Now we're having a conversation about the economy. Now we're having a conversation not just about my local economy that thrives when I make money because, I spend money locally. We're having a conversation about my local economy. We're having a conversation about the taxes that I am paying and how they're supporting schools. We're having a conversation about the way that I'm voting for those taxes, for those government funds to be allocated in the best interest of my community. I can't vote for more funds to be allocated to the schools that I care the absolute most about if there's no fucking money, because nobody's spending money, because nobody has money, because it's such hard times and nobody can afford to pay anybody anything. And so really it's just the fucking, what is that? Like the Great Depression. When negative things happen in your world, when negative things happen in your motherfucking world, the woman with low self-esteem is gonna just fucking kill over. She's gonna give up. You know how many tweets I've seen? Oh, that shit burns me up. It makes me fucking angry. I don't really know what's going on. I don't really know who to vote for, so I'm just not gonna do anything at all. When shit gets hard, the woman with low self-esteem gives the fuck up. And I'm not just talking about in the government. I'm not just talking about in politics. I'm not just talking about in your vote. I'm talking about in your family. I'm talking about the fact that raising you was hard. Having children, having toddlers with emotions that were complex. Having a child with complex emotions who doesn't know how to manage their emotions, while I'm an adult who doesn't know how to manage their emotions. That's hard. That's difficult. The mother with low self-esteem, she gave the fuck up. And then raised a daughter with low self-esteem. A daughter who can't manage her emotions, who also doesn't believe in her ability to create the reality of her desire, who doesn't believe in her ability to achieve her goals. When things are not going her way, the woman with low self-esteem gives up. And when the woman with low self-esteem gives up, she doesn't fight. She doesn't show up. She damn sure doesn't win. She loses every single motherfucking time. She loses her rights. She loses her happiness. She loses her fulfillment. She loses her satisfaction because when it got hard, when it got difficult, when it got tough, she didn't believe in her ability to keep going and she gave the fuck up. We don't have time. We don't have time. The world doesn't have time. With global warming, we don't have time. With the things that are happening to our children in schools, we don't have time. Like mentally, emotionally, intellectually, the things that are going on with our children in schools, we don't have time. With the amount of women who are being treated terribly all over the fucking world. You want to help the people of the goddamn Middle East? You want to help the people in countries all over the fucking world? News flash. You gotta be a bad bitch with self-esteem. You're not helping shit if you can't help yourself. This is bigger. This is important. This is significant. As a woman, you have to be a leader. You have to be a leader for yourself because nobody in the world is going to meet needs that they aren't aware of. Nobody in the world is going to meet your needs when you're telling the story that they're not going to meet your needs, when you're telling the story that they can't meet your needs, when you're telling the story that they won't meet your needs. So the woman with low self-esteem who gives up and who kills over, she doesn't just not meet and reach her goals. She lives a life of suffering, and I know that she does because I've seen it. I live the consequences of it, having been raised by women who lived it, and I know that you've seen it too. You've seen it in your mother, you've seen it in your aunt, you've seen it in your grandmother, maybe your great-grandmother, maybe a woman that taught at a school that you went to. Women cannot afford to be walking around the world without a belief in themselves and their ability to achieve their goals. It's not just about your next level of income. It's not just about your next position in your career. It is about your family. It is about your economy. It is about the safety and security of all of fucking humanity. It is about the safety and security of everything that is sacred. I'm talking about Mother Nature. I'm talking about Earth. I'm talking about the beings inside of our oceans that are rising and heating up. It's the fucking weather patterns that are all fucked up. Human beings took responsibility to fuck up the earth in so many ways, even though it wasn't always intentional. In some ways it was neglectful and all of this other stuff. But you know what? The dolphins in the sea cannot show up to Washington, D.C. You know what I'm saying? The dolphins cannot speak before Congress on behalf of themselves. The birds cannot speak for themselves. The levels of CO2 in the atmosphere are not going to come down and have a conversation with you about what needs to be done about them. That's on us as leaders. It's not going to get fixed until you get the fuck up and change it. So you have to have self-esteem. Not just because you have to get your goal, but because there's shit going on in the world. And we need women who are leaders. Because one woman is not going to save you. One person is not going to save you. One policy is not going to save you. Being a woman who has self-esteem, being a woman who understands, I don't give a fuck what it looks like. I am an important, significant woman who matters and who belongs. And so my right to decide what happens with my body is always going to be my choice. And it's not up for debate. I said what I said. How many women are walking around the world with the energy of, I said what I said? It's going to be what it's going to be because it's my body and I'm the leader of my body. I'm the leader of my mind. How many women have that perspective? Not enough. And we need it. So when it comes to your goals, when it comes to your desires, you become a woman of strong conviction. You get to a place where you can't imagine not having it. You get to a place where you can't imagine not having it. When I think about everything that I have just said to you, I can't imagine my business failing. I can't imagine not making the money that I need, want, and desire. I can't imagine not reaching my financial fucking goals because there is so much more that is at stake. There is so much more that needs me to rise the fuck up. So I actually only have one option, and that is to rise the fuck up. And it doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like my destiny. It feels like what I'm moving towards. It feels like what I was created for. It feels like what I was made for. It feels like who I am. It doesn't feel like me trying to be something that I'm not for the first time in my life. It does not feel like me having to be something else in order to be good enough, in order to succeed, in order to be liked, in order to be loved. It feels like me being exactly who the fuck I am. It feels natural. The manifestation of my desires feels natural because I changed my identity. I committed, I showed up, I did the work. I rearranged my relationship with failure so that shit doesn't faze me. I don't give a fuck what it looks like. I know that failure doesn't exist for me. I changed my relationship with my goals, the way that I see my goals. Seeing them as inevitable, seeing them as what I was made for, and I changed my identity, how I see myself, who I am. Of course, I'm the woman that makes money. Of course, I'm the woman who reaches her financial goals. I'm the woman who changes the motherfucking world. Not just in the future when I have already manifested the money and the power and the influence. I'm the woman who's changing the world right the fuck now on this podcast episode. I'm the woman who changes the world when I walk in the room. I'm the woman who changes the world when you have one conversation with her. I'm the woman who changes the world based off of something that she said to you one time 5 years ago that still resonates with you, that still supports you, that still uplifts you. I'm the woman who changes the motherfucking world. That is my identity. And the woman who changes the world. The woman who reaches her goals. That woman, I can't even form the sentence. That woman, that identity and failure, the two don't even go together. That doesn't even make sense. When you show up and you do the work and you do it till you get to the point where it seems illogical for you not to reach your goal. It seems like that doesn't even make sense for me not to reach. I don't even understand that. That doesn't even make sense. Every single thing that I just said to you, and you think that I'm not going to reach my fucking goals? You think that there's not a woman, many women out there in the world that are working in real estate that are going, oh my fucking God, that's me. She's talking exactly to me. Let me get inside of this course right now. Because I'm ready to lead in my mind, and I'm ready to lead in my family, and I'm ready to lead in my economy, and I'm ready to lead in my community. You'd have to be out of your fucking mind to think that. I think that's silly. I think that's silly. And that's your goal. Your goal is not just to manifest. Your goal is not just to change your physical reality. Your goal is to change your mind. To become the woman who has so much self-confidence. To become the woman who has so much self-esteem that it does not matter what is going on outside of you. It is illogical. It is unfathomable. It is unimaginable. It is a batshit crazy idea. The notion that you might fail. The notion that you might fail is unthinkable. Like, what are you even saying? What are you even fucking saying? That's your goal. And when you get to the place where the idea and the concept of you not reaching your goal is unfathomable, then you fucking made it. And that's when the manifestation is like so yours that it's not even funny. And technically the manifestation has always been so yours that it's not even funny. But when you get to that place, it feels like smooth sailing, cruising. You're on the plane. You went through that ascension process. You might have dealt with a little bit of turbulence. You're at that right altitude. It's smooth motherfucking sailing. Okay? Because I don't know about you, but I'm not living in a world where airplanes, which is my preferred way to travel, where airplane rides just get worse and worse and worse because of global fucking warming. That's not happening for me. So I'm going to go ahead and be a leader. I'm going to go ahead and be a leader. And I'm going to go ahead and hold the vision for some change in this motherfucking world. Because I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I saw a video or a tweet or something about this woman. She was on an airplane and they flipped the plane upside down because of like all of the turbulence and all of this shit. I looked at that tweet. I said, oh, no. And when I say, oh no, that doesn't mean, oh, I'm never getting on a plane. That means, oh no, I'll never be on an airplane that flips over, because that's fucking ridiculous. That's crazy. So we need to go ahead and fix global warming by tomorrow. You need to fix global warming before I step in, because I'm not dealing with that shit. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. So you've got to know how to change your own life. Because when you know how to change your own life, you know how to change the lives of others, and you can change the entire fucking world. It is the most important, significant work that you will ever do. When you're investing in my work, you're not just investing in yourself. You're not just investing in your future. You're not just investing in your mindset so that you can become a leader of your mind, a leader of your reality, a leader in your industry. You're investing in the future of the fucking planet. You're investing in the future of humanity. What is more important than that? Nothing. Nothing at all. And so it's my duty and it's my responsibility to create offers and to price them in a way that reflects that importance, in a way that reflects that fucking value. And that understanding didn't come from a book that I read. It didn't come from a video that I watched, even though there are teachers who have supported me in understanding this more and more over the years. That conviction and that understanding didn't come from that. It came from me doing the work. It came from me scripting and having epiphanies and seeing things differently and creating programs and going over those programs, the concepts inside of those programs, building out those belief systems, understanding things on a deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper level. It came from me doing the work. You better not just be listening to this podcast to memorize some shit so that you look spiritual or what the fuck ever. It's not about what you're able to say. It's about the energy that you're able to hold. It's about the energy that you fucking embody. My goal, my desire, my purpose, my vision is to live in a world full of women who are embodying that leadership, who are embodying their divinity, who are embodying their sovereignty. Leadership of their mind, leadership of their family. I need you to be able to lead as a mother, because there's enough men walking around in the world that are absolute pieces of shit because they didn't have mothers who were leaders. And sure, we can talk about their fathers who weren't leaders, but this is a podcast for the professional woman, so I'm not going to waste my time talking to men when they're not my ideal audience. We need women who are leaders. And if you are ready to be one of those women, if you're ready to live a life where you are no longer negatively influenced by your fears, your doubts, or your insecurities around your current goal, then there's nothing that I could recommend to you more than the I Can and I Should course. As you move across all 6 modules, you will heal those negative ideas that you have accumulated around failure, embarrassment, negative ideas about success, what it takes, negative ideas about your own ability to succeed. And then you'll establish beliefs that make your inevitable achievement, yes. You'll establish beliefs that make your inevitable achievement easier, speedier, and more enjoyable than ever before. Combined with the included exercises and workbooks and workshops, you will embody the confident version of yourself that has already achieved your goal. You will become the woman who owns the yacht instead of thinking and being and behaving like the woman who has the raft. You understanding what I'm saying? And as you embody that confident version of yourself, you create a sense of certainty around your desire. That's what the I Can and I Should course is about. It is about creating a sense of certainty around your desire, certain that it's yours, certain that you were made for it, certain that it's your inevitable destiny, certain that it's already on the way to you, certain that it's done. No need to worry, no need to stress, no need to fuss. It's done. Okay? To learn more about the course and enroll now, which you obviously should, go ahead and click the link in the show notes or the description if you're watching on YouTube. I love ya. This episode is over an hour long, which I kind of missed talking to you for over an hour. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and you have to comment and tell me that you did. Yeah, I love you, and I will talk to you again next week. I think that I'll be back on Monday. I think we're getting back into the schedule of Monday and Thursday episodes. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 99% sure. So I'll talk to you again on Monday. I love you. Oh, and there is that free resource library available to you. I highly recommend getting inside of it and treating it like it cost $1 million fucking dollars, because the shit is so incredibly valuable. And I'm going to be adding some stuff to it as well soon. I love you, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Okay, bye.